Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Yoon and I wanted to share with you something that's near and dear to my heart, which is mental health in the military. Whether you are in the military or not, I truly do believe this is going to help you if you are going through a difficult time in your life. Because when I was in the military, I went through a period of, downward spiral of mental health, and it wasn't until I got some help and I was able to look back on my life and be able to understand and identify kind of the patterns and what kind of happened and transpired and how I overcame the downward spiral of negative mental health. And so I hope this really helps you. And this is something that's I'm just going to go straight from the dome, and I hope you get a lot of value. And so before I joined the military, right, I was going to community college. I wasn't doing too well. I was working at a watch repair store, had a business, didn't do too well, and so I was like 2.5 years after I graduated high school. I never accomplished anything, and my friends were got their associates and they're on their way to graduate with a 4-year degree, and I was like, man, like, I feel like I'm a failure, right? So I decided to join the military. I kind of, was embarrassed at first to join the military, and I did, and I had like $200 to my name, and my self-image was pretty low, right? The way I kind of viewed myself, I was like, I'm just this 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid and have nothing to show for, and I wanted to be rich and successful, but I don't know how. And the military is an organization that I want you to understand was created by people who went through the military process, right? People who are much further, much more mature, older, etc., wise and stuff. For example, let's say like 50-year-olds, right? The military was designed by people who are 50 that went through the process. They have good intentions, but they're not necessarily in tune with kind of the modern day, right? It's no different than like if you explain to your grandma how Facebook works, right? She's going to have a hard time understanding because she's just not in touch with kind of the current reality. So the military, in my opinion, was created with good intention, but with people that are kind of out of touch with how things are running and operating in the world. And so the standard to be a service member is high, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, the demanding side of it is high, right? So the thing about the military is it forces you to grow into that person, right? Because the military wants you to become a product, and that's how they, get you to become a product of the military by like taking you along this journey for you to become a service member, which is a good thing because it forces you to level, and this is what's called growing outside of your comfort zone in real time, right? But the thing about growing outside of your comfort zone that I really hope people understand is that it comes in a way that you may not expect it to, right? If you see my videos, like the first 500 videos that I created in this channel, it's me, a young sailor, going through that process of growth, right? And a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of criticism over the years of people saying, stop complaining, from, veterans, active duty members, YouTubers, etc. A lot of criticism that all I'm doing is complaining and just, being a whiner and being a, wussy, right, etc. But I've gotten also a lot of love and support from people who understand, what I was trying to do. So when it comes to growing outside of your comfort zone, it's okay to complain, right? Humans can complain. That's how we cope with stress, right? We have conversations with each other, whether it's one-on-one or the masses with other people, of what we are going through and how we feel at that moment, right? And that's okay because we're not robots, right? Like, military service members are not robots. There's no idea that these people should have chips in their head and they should become robots. No, like, service members are humans and they have emotions, right? And when people complain, right, that process of growth comes in the form of language of, this sucks. I hate my leadership. I'm tired. I worked 12-hour shifts. I want to be out of the military. I can't, I just don't, I hate my chain of command, whatever. Like, it comes in the form of complaining, right? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it's just somebody verbalizing how they're feeling in the process of growth, in the process of where they are to where the military needs them to be, that forcing to level up, forcing them to grow outside their comfort zone. That's what creates the friction, that creates the complaining, right? That's what I really want people to understand. So this complaining is normal. It's human emotions, right? We can have emotions. And so the thing about that is the current modern day society demonizes that, right? Like there's so many YouTube videos out there that demonize me for what I do. Like they don't understand, and it's not necessarily their fault, they just don't understand that that is what growth looks like, and it's okay to complain, it's okay to do that. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because I want you guys to understand, like, that's what growth looks like. And the thing about when you start demonizing, when you start criticizing people who complain, is that they start internalizing it, right? When you say all this, for example, for me on YouTube, other YouTubers complain and criticize me, I could internalize it, right? I could say, well, maybe it's not that the military is difficult. Maybe it's just I'm difficult. Maybe the military doesn't suck. Maybe I suck. Maybe, like, why is it that other people are excelling in their military careers? I feel like the leadership is favoring them. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just worthless. Right? Like when nobody's there to listen and nobody's there to understand, and even if I just say anything, people just say like I'm just complaining, that I should just suck it up. Maybe it's just me. And that's the thought that people have, and that's the thought that I've had. And it's hard. You know, I just wish that people understood that when you even go to these, you know, these different people out there, that veterans or, you know, YouTubers or any other service members, and you ask them like, is mental health important? And they'll say absolutely. But then they're the ones who are causing, when they start criticizing other people for complaining, they're the ones that are causing that problem. And so what I hope people understand in this, you know, from this video, and what I want to kind of try and accomplish, it's the fact that it's okay to complain. It's okay to you know, express yourself. Unfortunately, the military doesn't have a system of, you know, a yearly therapy, mandatory therapy. I wish that's something that they implemented. They have yearly like mandatory like health checkups. Even though they, you know, mental health is important, it's not important enough where, you know, there's a mandatory therapy session that goes on a yearly basis, which even then is kind of only one session is not enough. But, you know, for me, I've gotten enough sessions, professional help, to be able to work through this and understand it to the degree that I have now. And that's just something that I wish everybody, you know, if you are struggling mentally, like if you feel like, you know, the military sucks and, you know, your leadership sucks and this work sucks and you can't wait to get out of the military because it's just not for you, understand that those are all normal. Those are all things that's what's called growing outside your comfort zone in real time. But just understand, I would personally recommend that you get some type of help. And it's not because you should get help for the sake of getting help, but if you went and talked to somebody to try and really identify what you are thinking, what you are feeling, you know, where you are in your journey, it's going to help. Actually, let me rephrase that. Too many times we spend so much time with other people, right? With friends, family, coworkers. We spend so much time being distracted, watching movies, TV shows, and etc. And we're so bombarded by all this information that we forget to spend time with the most important person, which is ourselves. When you are trying to get to know somebody, let's say you're going on a date, you spend one-on-one time with them and you start asking them questions, right? That's the best way to get to know that person. But we often don't do that for ourselves. We don't ask ourselves, how are you? How do you feel? Why does that make you feel that way? Are you frustrated? Why does that make you frustrated? We don't ask ourselves these questions. We don't date ourselves. We don't go to movies and restaurants by ourselves. We don't spend enough time with ourselves, right? And it's hard to kind of understand how to do that, right? And what therapy does is a person is skilled and trained to be able to ask good questions for you to get the answer from yourself, right? So that's kind of the reason why I would promote therapy, why I would recommend therapy, because that's kind of the process that I went through, and so I'm just a believer in it. I didn't get therapy necessarily per se, but I got somebody who is highly skilled in that to be able to help me work through that process. So I hope that gave you guys some level of clarity, because was just genuine. Some of the things, concerning things that I've been seeing out there, and I'm at a point now where I was able to go through that process, understand it, and my mission now is to be able to help as much people out there possible that's going through a mental health crisis, whether they're in the military or not, and be able to just explain to them the same thing. And so that's something that's truly important for me. And I hope you got a lot of value from this video. And if you know anybody who is possibly having a difficult time mentally, I would just highly appreciate it if you could share this video with them, and maybe it can help with just a little thing. Just helping them understand that may make the big difference in their lives. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.